Welcome back to the Marching Arts Network podcast. I am the Stressmaster.
And I am the Tumor, and after the amount of videos that I've released over the last couple of weeks, you must be getting sick of seeing my face.
I know I am. It's only been 30-something years, 35 years. And then we also have Jen Carr, Dinky on here.
Yay! Again.
I think at this point we could just call you a co-host, Jen.
I'm getting to that point.
Yeah.
So
you stop being a visitor.
Right.
So what was your nickname?
Simply there were 6 Jennifers in the Color Guard in 1993. So my nickname was Jay, just J-A-E. So we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
My people will love it.
Okay. Whoa! I just pegged my audio out there.
I don't have a cool nickname like Tumor or Stressmaster.
Well, I don't know if it's cool, but
I certainly didn't ask for Tumor. I'd have been happy to spot B8 or B10.
Okay, well, we have a pretty packed show, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Hey, first off, real quick, can I just? I'm looking for a bit of sympathy. Looking for a bit of sympathy from our audience here. I live in the north of England. It's 77 degrees here. I am dying today.
Wow.
Yeah, I really feel bad for you in the Midwest. Talk to me live.
Hey, speaking of weather and stuff like that, did the Aurora Borealis make its way down to your parts in America?
It did for about 15 minutes.
Really?
It was, yeah, maybe 10, 15 minutes. It was pretty cool. It was that same kind of pink hue. It's everywhere. Photos all over my feed of that whole swoop from Seattle down through, almost down to Texas, and then back up.
So my wife and I last night, we went to, I found a website, Light Pollution UK, to find a dark spot. And we found a place about a half an hour from our house north of Manchester up in the hills. And we went and watched it. We had a solid 2 hours of just the most amazing light show ever.
Yeah, it was quick here, and everybody seemed to get the same kind of pictures. A lot of it was very faint to the eye, so a lot of the photos you see are kind of enhanced. But you can see them.
I don't know if I'll send Justin a picture if you want, but if you want through the magic of editing, you could put one.
Yeah, I'll insert that in.
There you go.
I didn't even know that was happening. When was that happening?
Last night.
Last night.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, but the point is, if you do manage to get that picture in there, what I want you to know is that what you're seeing in that picture is what we saw with our naked eye. It was just absolutely incredible. Life bucket list moment. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Drum corps. Let's find some stuff to talk about.
So Michael Duffy, I'm not familiar with who this person is, but it looks like he's a musical arranger for both first and second place corridor. Oh, okay, I did see a little bit about him. He was just inducted into the DCI Hall of Fame for this year, actually, and unfortunately he passed away. I'm trying to remember what corps he was in. He was Kingsman and Lacrosse Blue Stars. Okay. So he arranged for the Kingsmen in 72.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm guessing by that video, he must have had something to do with the Kilties as well.
He marched Kilty. Wait, I'm confused. Hold on a second.
He arranged for Troopers, Kilties, Seattle Imperials, De La Salle Oaklands. I can never say the word. Etobicoke Crusaders. Basically, the dude was everywhere in the 70s.
Wow.
Shall we listen?
Let's listen.
This is 77 Kilties. Pretty decent sound.
They were a co-ed horror, weren't they?
I think so.
Not at this point. No, they were all male at this point.
Were they?
Okay. Gotcha.
Wow.
I think they went co-ed around I think it was the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
It's funny, when they went co-ed, people didn't lose their ever-loving minds like when
I
Madison
wasn't going to say it.
And they're playing that stuff while half high mark time.
Right.
Or low mark time.
Wow. I've never watched the Kilties very much. I might have to give the show a good run.
I'd like to know, did they wear those kilts like a true Scotsman, though?
Uh-huh.
I somehow doubt that. But you never know. Maybe at finals they did.
Right? Final tradition. All right, so
that's a cool
77
wedge.
Kilties, let us know. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a cool wedge.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
Very cool.
What was the sweat powder that we used to use, Justin?
I didn't. You mean the Gold Bond
Gold
stuff
Bond?
or the
Gold Bond, yes.
Gold
Can you
Bond.
imagine if they did? Listen now, if they did march like a true Scotsman, can you imagine the Gold Bond powder parties they must have had?
Oh my god.
Gold Bond.
Dude, yeah, what's so funny is like I was so skinny back then I didn't have any of those issues.
I always remember when we were getting ready for shows, you could always find the baritone section because of the cloud of Gold Bond that was always surrounding us.
That was all you guys, man. I never
By the color guard by the cloud of Aquanet.
Yes.
The Gold Bond was far more relieving than, especially if you had the green bottle, the Medicaid. Oh,
jeez.
Your eyes would just roll back in your head. It was great.
Problems. Okay, so this is I just thought this was kind of interesting, and we can say, so if you're in the Boston area, of course, support Boston Crusaders. They have a party backfield. Backyard Bash is returning to Quincy. The information's here. I will go ahead and put this into let me make a note. I'm going to put this into the description so you guys have that if you want to go to that and participate in that event. But it's on June 14th, 2 days after my birthday, so that's kind of cool. A little shout out for my birthday there.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Quincy, Massachusetts. That's where the Freelancers and the Boston Crusaders almost came to blows in '92, as I recall.
Yes.
Oh my
On the
gosh.
East Coast there.
It was a different time back then, kids.
Yeah, there was a few. You missed 93. 93.
Oh, yeah.
There was an incident at a retreat with the Blue Devils. I was Horn Sergeant then, and this kid, he was probably like 17 or whatever. He basically kept putting his foot over the line, which is a no. You don't put your foot over the line during retreat. And he kept doing it and kept doing it. So I walked over to him and I looked at his foot. I looked at him. I looked at his foot. I looked at him. I go, "Can you please just move your foot?" I go, you'd move it 2 inches. And he just goes, and I'm like, and then their Horn Sergeant walked over to me and he goes, "What's going on?" I go, "The guy's foot is over the line. I just asked him nicely to move it." And he goes, "Just move your foot."
Right?
I mean,
We do not need to start a brawl over this.
I know. And we're friendly with the Blue Devils too. So it's like,
see, this is what kids today don't get, is that we used to actually have a lot of little antics that went on in retreat. Like, I will never forget sat in the retreat block in 1989, and I kept hearing ting, ting, ting. And then I realized, so we were doing ET that year, and it was actually the Velvet Knights contrabass section throwing Reese's Pieces into our block.
Oh my gosh. That is
Oh
so
no,
funny.
it gets better though, Jen. It gets better later on that season. So there we are. Now for those who don't know, freelancers in retreat, we were like super hardcore.
Yeah.
All that stuff, right?
Right.
It used to drive our staff crazy when we'd take our horns and put them to parade rescue. We'd slam them into our chest and drag them down the buttons on our uniform and all that stuff. But I'm sat there in retreat one night and I could just see there's something swinging by out of the corner of my eye every now and then. I was going, what the hell is that? So I actually broke and I turned and looked, and it was the same Velvet Knights contrabass section with a stuffed ET doll with a hangman's noose tied around its neck, and they were sat there just swinging it cowboy style over our block.
Nice.
Good times.
Oh my
Good times.
gosh. That is so funny.
All right.
I have this great picture from '93 finals, and I'm smiling, big open mouth, color guard smile, and you can see my tongue is like bright pink. And it took me years to, I couldn't figure out. I was like, why is my tongue bright pink? And it turns out because it's the Cavaliers Jolly Ranchers. They've been handing out Jolly Ranchers during finals retreat, and I'd eaten like 3 of them.
Dude,
I forgot about the Jolly Ranchers. Because they used to throw those at horn lines, but hand them out to the color guard.
Blue Devils Contra line used to throw candy at us. Remember when my friend Larry, he had marched freelancers 87, 88, and then he went and marched 89 through 90, whatever, 2 or 3, whatever he marched. But every now and again he would see, I'd look over at him, he'd be there, and they'd be throwing candy at us. Stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's hilarious.
Nowadays, I'm like, please throw the candy. I will eat the candy.
Yeah. Retreat was a different animal back then.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the repertoire for Spirit of Atlanta. So I don't know. I'm going to play the audio, but hopefully I won't get a copyright thing.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this show because I really liked their show last year. And, I obviously there's a spot opened up in DCI finals. Most people assume that Vanguard's going to get it, but there's nothing to say that last year's 11th, 12th places cores aren't necessarily a shoe-in. I think that this is a core to watch. I really do.
Yeah, let's take a listen.
They're doing the right things there.
Good production value on this trailer here. Oh, I really like the music.
Yeah. This is like the song I didn't know I needed in drum court.
Ooh, Tumor Speaky. This sounds like a movie trailer.
Yeah. This is such an interesting style.
Okay, that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and then that little flash, I love it.
That was.
They had me at Elfman and also at Sting. I'm a huge fan of the Police and a huge fan of Sting. I can't wait to see that show.
I'm really excited.
I'm gonna call my shot right now, and I'm gonna say Spirit of Atlanta makes finals this year.
I'm really excited. They've been on a really great upward trajectory since the bridge year. Their bottle tree show was a really great taste. I really loved it. Um, I think that they have a great production value. I really always, there's been some criticisms in the past, especially 2019, that they kind of went overboard, like it was too much, too many costume changes, too many things. I don't know. I've always liked them. I'm excited. The few things that I've heard about the prop design, and it's going to be a real visual feast. I'm really excited for Spirit, and of course, my love to Spirit. I love them. I know they're going through a little bit of a tough time right now, but they are one of the leaders in the activity right now as far as member safety, and they've still got some stuff to iron out. From their past experience, but this is an organization to watch because they are blossoming both competitively and organizationally.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say about that as well, as far as I think they've got the right leadership in place to get them through those past issues that they're dealing with now. And just very quickly to address what you talked about 2019, I think that 2019 that was a finalist core that they over designed their way out of finals.
Yeah, it was a little too much.
And what the hell was up with those ramps? Jesus Christ, they were the scariest thing in the world. The only ramp I've seen scarier than that was Jagged Line by the Bluecoats.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Yeah,
and Blue Devils had those elevated staircases, right, in the same year. Right?
Am I thinking?
Was that 19 or 18?
I think that was 18.
19. Well, I mean, on the subject of props, though, I do know that it's something we've been talking about in a private chat in another group that Jen and I are in, is that I know that DCI is taking health and safety very, very seriously this year. So when we're looking at props and we're looking at sizes of props and how they're being used and how they're being moved and all that, I think people need to understand that DCI is taking health and safety very seriously. They're inspecting props. They're making sure that the kids that are dealing with the props and the volunteers have the proper training, and that they're wearing the proper safety equipment, so on and so forth. So, and I'm glad to see that step is finally being taken, because I think, really it started with Jagged Line by the Bluecoats. Some of the props started getting pretty scary.
And no offense to my friend who was the prop manager at Santa Clara for a number of years. He talked about, like, I had to ratchet this down and make this work and everything. There were times they'd climb up on stuff in 2019 and 2022, and you could just see last year, you just see things swaying. I was like, oh, I'm gonna die, Member safety is pretty important nowadays, and if you're gonna have these extensive props and really intricate things, that they need to fall into some kind of compliance.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I just have a little snippet here. This is a minute. I think this is just Pacific Crest. I'm just giving a little California love here. I'm not going to play the music because, honestly, if they just put some random music over here and then we get copyrighted or we can't monetize our video, so we're not going to do that today. And I'll put some cool music behind it. That's actually, we can put. Because I already watched this. It's just basically just some rehearsal stuff, so... But I'll put cool music under it.
And again, this is another core, though, that is one to watch. I think that we saw that bloodbath from 10th through about 15th last year. I think that bloodbath it's going to be the same cores in that same bloodbath.
Yeah, it's that was the most intense thing to watch last year. I mean, who cares about the top three? That was kind of all written out. But that 5 through 8 and then this 10 through 15 was just insane last year.
Yeah.
I think when we analyzed it, it was like everybody was within a couple points. It wasn't like this huge, gigantic jump, but it was like really tight. It was very interesting. It could have gone any way.
And the other thing about that 10th through 15th section as well last year, I believe at one point every one of those cores was in the top 12.
Yeah, and that's the interesting. Like when you look at DCI, the way they do the trajectory, and you can add and subtract different cores, and it shows you a little line throughout the season. That 10 through 15 was just doing this the whole time, and it was somebody new all the time. I mean
who's
so stressful.
Who's this lot here?
Hey, that's my team.
Yeah, so I'm going to play the audio from this because they do talk in here, but I have a feeling it's going to get us demonetized.
Right.
Well, hold on a second.
We'll roll with it.
Jen, can you give us permission to use the audio for this?
No. I cannot give that permission.
Same chunk, letter G to letter M. We are at Auburn High School in Rockford, Illinois for April Camp.
We are together for the first time with the brass, percussion, and color guard.
The music is coming together pretty well.
Ooh, some show music.
It's sounding really cool so far.
This is like my favorite time of year personally. Watching the kids read the music is like my favorite thing in the world.
And the
This is the first
demonetization
time
starts.
the entire drum corps has been together all season so far, so it's really exciting, really energetic. The brass has been working a lot on marching technique, learning drill, the process for learning and fixing drill. The music focus has been the last 2 movements of the show, and color guard is still finishing up their auditions. This group seems really mature and very prepared for what's about to happen for this season.
I'm excited. I'm really hyped. This is my age out. Taking my experiences from last year, seeing how I can apply and be better this season.
I think what I'm most excited about from what I've seen so far is just the level of energy, the level of determination. This year's membership is almost 50-50 returning members and new members. There's a lot of really great examples being set by the returning members, but the new members are showing so much maturity for this season. Even new members who have never marched drum corps before, they seem to know the expectations already. They know what they're getting themselves into, and we already work really well together.
This year's music is much different than last year.
Our show this year is still very much Phantom Regiment. There are going to be parts of it where the audience is like, yes, this is exactly what I expected from Phantom Regiment, but there are also parts of the show that are very new, different from anything we've ever done.
We're headed in a new direction. This is the new Phantom Regiment, the modern Phantom Regiment, and establishing that identity while keeping the things that people love about this corps there.
I'm really excited about, we have some like really recognizable things that, you know, I can't talk about, but immediately people will know, oh, I know that tune right away. And then immediately flip to something brand new percussion ensemble that no one's gonna recognize, but I love that juxtaposition.
I mean, it's unmistakable. When you'll hear us, you'll go, yeah, that's the Phantom Regiment.
The old and the new fit together really well.
The percussion staff, we joined the corps last year. We got the call shortly after the 2022 DCI season.
We have our team we've worked with. We came from a different drum corps, but we pretty much had the same corps team, but it's first time here. So it was just like so many firsts and so many new things.
And it just felt like the right time for us to step out and do our own thing.
I was here as a member in 2009 and 2010.
I marched in the corps in 2008, 2009, 2010.
The dream come true was just to like write a marching band show together, and then we got a drum corps job. And then for it to culminate in this, where we're at our corps that we won a drum trophy at together. We were like best friends at the time is like, I don't know, I can't even say enough about how important it is to us to be here.
Really, really satisfying to me.
Right away when we came back, it was faces we recognized. There's such a different energy about it, but it feels familiar and it feels like home in a way too.
I mean, we're like in our 30s and we're professionals, and I'll text them like, can you believe we're just like, we're still there like doing this thing at Phantom Regiment? It's like, it's really cool to reflect on.
Phantom has a rich history.
There's just something about Phantom Regiment that's so special to me that I've loved since the first time I saw them live in 2017.
I marched here because I was just totally emotionally affected by watching the group play.
It's an honor to get to call myself a Phantom Regiment conductor. It's something that I dreamed of ever since I saw a baton pull for the first time.
I think that is what has kept the corps alive and kept the corps one of the beloved drum corps for all these years.
There's something very like passionate and energetic that shows from the audience, and when you're actually in it and get to be a part of that passion and energy, it just
Ooh, I like that
addicting.
where they did the little arm out and catch. Okay,
I'm
that's
so
the end of the
old.
video.
All right.
I'm so old. I remember the first time that the Phantom Regiment baton pull ever happened.
That was Kurt Matlin. He's a lovely, lovely individual. And his baton was like Huge. I think we auctioned it off a couple
He
years.
was all like,
Yeah, it took like.
What year was that?
80.
87.
No.
Oh, really? It was
before that.
I thought it was
Kurt
before
Maslin
that.
was in 87. So,
Oh,
anyways,
no.
so Phantom Regiment, I'm really excited. I talked to a couple of people that were at April camp, and usually I would be at April camp, but it was my daughter's birthday, and she had a birthday party and all this stuff. So I was really like FOMO the whole weekend. Everything I've heard is like they feel really good about this group. They, they feel like they're ahead of schedule as far as like being ready to put all of the elements together. I'm really glad that video kind of focused on my dog. I apologize. I'm really glad that they focused on the percussion team because they kind of slid in last year, and there was a little bit more hype about the visual team that was coming in place last year and the year before. So they didn't get a lot of attention, but these are all guys that marched together at Regiment. I think a lot of them went to UNT together. They learned under Paul Rennick. And they just were really excited. They had been kind of working secondary roles in places, and so they came into Regiment really excited last year to have the opportunity to design and create a new philosophy in the percussion element at Regiment, and so far it's paid off. They did really well last year, for what we wanted, and hopefully they'll grow from that. They had a lot of new people last year, so I'm hoping they grow this year competitively.
I mean, the thing is, they keep talking about it's a new direction for Phantom Regiment, but I think people forget that new direction kind of started last year, really. Really, it probably started in 2019, as far as musical direction is concerned.
Yeah.
But last year was the huge departure in so much as, I mean, you played Muse for crying out loud. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This ain't your daddy's Phantom Regiment anymore. What I would say, watching that video and watching other videos when they interview members from drum corps, and this is a jab, if you will, that I'm directly aiming at all the old people that like to poo-poo modern drum corps. Okay. Listen to the kids. Listen to what they're saying. They are responsible for what they do, and they hold themselves responsible. They hold their peers accountable as well. You look at the Phantom. I mean, a prime example is the Phantom Regiment conductor. She's not just up there to wave her arms around. She's leading that drum corps.
Yeah.
But she's leading that drum corps because the members expect her to lead that drum corps. They're wanting to be led, and they're holding themselves accountable. The level of responsibility that is put on the individual members of a modern drum corps is far more than anything that any of us ever had back in our day. Yeah. We had a dot book. That was about it.
I'm on the scholarship committee at Regiment, so I'm one of the people that weigh in on scholarship applications, and one of our questions is, what does Phantom Regiment mean to you? And it's even the kids that are applying that are first year members. I love that section of that response because I get to hear, like, this is how I learned about Phantom Regiment, this is why I chose Phantom Regiment, this is why this is family, and like family with a PH, and this is, it's really great to learn those things because in an activity now where people jump from corps to corps to corps pretty rapidly, it's great to hear that people look at Phantom still and say, this is where I want to be and this is where I want to stay. And we're always going to bleed off members, we get it, but it's great to see that people still come to Phantom because we're Phantom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we're ready to do the wheel of cheese.
Right.
We're gonna spin the wheel of cheese.
We have a little bit of a problem, guys, in that I have to go.
Uh-oh, it's gonna be us.
So why don't I do this? Why don't I explain this? I will spin the wheel, and I will leave you two to watch and respond and finish up. Right, so what this wheel is, folks, is I came across a thread on Reddit. Can you guys see that wheel, by the way?
No, you're not sharing.
There we go.
You're sharing.
Right, so I came across a thread on Reddit. Now, a lot of people think that Drum Corps Planet is the Dregs of Society of Drum Corps, and I can assure you it's not. We're trying our best. We do a pretty good job. Reddit, on the other hand, is absolutely the dregs of society when it comes to drum corps conversation. And there was a thread on there that was, what is the worst drum corps ever? And then there was also, what is your least favorite corps ever, or least favorite show ever? And what I've done is I've gone and grabbed a whole bunch of the ones that were named on that list, and I have put them on this random wheel of death. So my challenge to you two, as I've got to shoot off, my challenge to you two is I'm going to spin the wheel. You guys are going to watch the show, and you're going to give your take on it. But here's my challenge to you. Regardless of where of what show it lands on, you have to say nice things about it.
Oh, okay.
Because we're the nice podcast.
We are the friendly podcast here.
Yeah.
We want to be friends with everybody.
Yes.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and spin this sucker.
Let's do it. Spin it.
All right, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Yes.
It's completely random.
Oh,
Is there anything you see on there that you're worried
completely
about?
random until it lands on 2019 Regiment.
So Justin, is there anything on there that you're concerned about?
90 freelancers.
Here we go.
All right, what do we got here? Oh
man, I have so much to say.
Oh, the horror, the tragedy.
And again.
Oh God, no! I think that was
God,
worse than 90 freelancers, to be honest.
Yeah, we can say.
Oh no, 92. That's is that Miss Saigon?
No,
92
that's
is
Fiddler.
when they...
Oh, is that
No,
Fiddler?
No.
That's Fiddler on the Roof.
92 is
sure?
Fiddler.
92
No,
is Fiddler.
Enjoy, guys. I'm out.
God, you suck.
I'm not gonna try to find 92. Ugh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
You two kids, listen. You two kids play nice. I'm out of here. See ya.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Thanks for dropping that on us.
Bye.
Okay, give me a minute to pull it up because I gotta find it. Okay, so it's time to watch the show.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to be as nice as I can. And nothing against anybody that marched Santa Clara Vanguard. It's just this was not my favorite show. It was a good show. I think it was Vanguard.
It ended better than it started.
Yes.
I mean, like in general, from the season to season.
Yes.
So, a little bit of background for those who don't know. This was the year that Gail Royer had retired, or was retiring. So this was his last year. He unfortunately passed away a year later. And this was an anniversary year, I think, for them. And so they were like, we're going to bring Fiddler back and everything. And for those of us on the West Coast that got to watch the show from its first step to its last step, it was a throwback show. They were bringing out old uniforms. They had the guard in the old green skirts with the tunics doing the bottle dance. And it was an absolute disaster. That's the worst thing I'm going to say. The start of it was really rough. And then finally, they were just getting killed by the judges. And finally, I think mid-season before they went on the second tour, remember we used to do DCI tour after that, they totally came out like right before, like within a few weeks before finals and rewrote the entire show. New guard uniforms. They put the black dresses with the little necklines on, and the hair pieces, or the babushkas, and as we called them, and just totally rewrote the entire show. And so this is what we got. This is probably the quality of like a mid, they basically had like 5 weeks to clean an entire show that everybody else had been cleaning for 10 weeks. So what they put on the field at finals was, that was a blessing for them, because that was for a member of 92 Vanguard, I'm sure that was a hard season.
Yeah. And 92 was not a really good year for drum corps. It just was kind of weird. It was like a strange, like anomaly year. Because even freelancers, I mean, we went from, like, we thought we were going to progress from our previous year, and we went down. And we had a good horn line that year. Yeah. I mean, we had a really good horn line in 92. But 92 was like, even Blue Devils were kind of like, When a Man Loves a Woman, it was okay.
That was the best part of their show.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. And once again, nothing against them. It's just, it was a weird year. It was just a strange year. I think Cavies won that year. 92.
Cavies won that year. That was their first championship.
Yep. It was just a really weird.
That Regiment was coming in sixth. And then there was a weird flip-flop between Regiment, Crossman, and Vanguard. And regiment ended up, they were 6th going into finals, and they ended up in 8th place. That's when Dave St. Angel flipped off the judges on the DCI videotape.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was the year that prompted the big change that led to 93 in regiment. So there were things that came out of 92 that were good, you know. So as a result, but yeah, it was a weird year for drum corps, and it was super cold that week. So yeah. Anyways, going on back to Santa Clara.
Okay, so let's get to it. I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, here we go. Now I gotta say, visually they were pretty darn good.
Yeah, I like this entrance.
Yes. Looks like they have some holes.
Yeah, they do. I've never noticed that.
I'm gonna make us a little bit smaller because I think we're a little too big. There we go. Sorry, I'm cutting out the picture.
It's a weird formation.
You know what though? Blue Devils does that a lot now.
They do.
They do a non-form form.
Yes.
Non-form forms.
Look at that crowd. Oh, look at that crowd. Oh my gosh.
That was Madison. Was that Madison?
That was Madison. That was one of the biggest DCI crowds on record. I remember coming around the tunnel and just having a bit of a panic attack when I saw the wall.
My panic attack was 89 when we were in Kansas City. That was a cool venue.
Yeah.
Cool drill going on here.
Yeah, you know.
Kind of some nods to the traditional symmetrical drill.
Right. Yeah, I'm so glad that I'm really so hardcore. I love it. It's so nice to see the changes.
Hey, that's Augie.
Do you know him?
Yeah, that's Augie. He was in the freelancer jacket. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mellophone.
Yeah, I know Augie.
Yeah, I think that was Augie. That hair looks familiar.
Right. I'm really glad they did make the changes they needed to make with the color guard, because oh my gosh, if I had been told, hey, you're gonna wear this big polyester wool thing and look like you're straight out of 1979 for a whole summer, I would have cried. And they just can't tell a story that way. And Fiddler is a story. You have to tell a story. So
yeah,
they made a really good change when they, and this was the second guard uniform. The first one was this like purpley floral kind of prairie looking thing.
Yeah.
So this was the second iteration of get out of the old uniforms. So
yeah, the opener was kind of rough at the beginning.
Really rough.
And then it's kind of settled in now, so
yeah.
Nice moment.
The only flag they swim, I think. The flag was the flag.
Oh, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
like the two tones.
I like the soloists this year. They're all talented. I mean, stylistically, they did.
Okay.
I seem to think the color guard only spun the Star of David flag the whole show.
I don't know. That looked like it was a different symbol, but I could be wrong. I can't tell though because it's so grainy.
It's the same flag. It's the same flag.
They spun the same flag the whole show.
They spun the same flag the whole show. One piece of equipment. Again, it's some weird creative choices this year. You know.
I'm sorry, but why would you want to do that? Wouldn't you want like a feel, a different change in mood?
You know,
or
maybe if you look back on like old days, they only spun one flag, and maybe you're right. You know, like in the 70s, they didn't have a lot of crop changes. Maybe this is a throwback to that, or maybe they just ran out of money. You know, ran out of money, ran out of steam. You know, someone from Santa Clara '92, tell me.
Yeah, because that's a really not a smart choice.
Yeah, you know, and unfortunately, guard was wrapped into the visual of GE courses, so we didn't have a recall. And it'd be interesting, like some of those guards back then, to see how they, you know, how they were stacked up between kind of cards that were
I can't believe they never changed equipment.
Yeah, no, and they don't have any weapons. If I remember correctly, I don't think they have any weapons. I think it's a flag line.
Well, that's not traditional. They should have marched with a rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a saber.
They just, I mean, we were talking earlier about, you know, learning one show during practicing one show during the day and performing another one at night. I feel like this was their entire summer. Like, it's hard to do it for a week or two when you're making big scale changes. Yeah. I feel like that's what they did for the full summer. And I don't know anybody that marches here at Santa Clara, so I have, you know, this is all assumption.
Yeah, I don't know if I know anybody either. I know people that marched after, like, freelancers folded, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody I know was 93 and on.
There was just some really not, this is cool part.
Yeah. Yeah, I like visually, like, where they settled. I wonder what people thought of the hat. You know?
Yeah.
There's someone down there on the front sideline picking up flags. So I'm like, oh, what's going to happen next? Maybe there is another flag that I've forgotten.
Yeah, you're right. It's literally like they learned the show a couple weeks before.
Yeah. There's a lot. Looking back on it, there's a lot of dirt, and I can understand why, you know, Regiment would have been so mad. You know?
Oh no, same flags.
Same flags. I just had to reposition them. I just like the soloist this year.
Hmm.
No, can't say anything negative about this part of the show.
They must have just been practicing 12 hours a day. Is that, wait a second, is that Wayne's World at the front?
Oh my gosh, it is. It's Dana Carvey. But I mean, you look at all those builds. This is a ton of builds to get this level dance. Left you right, the left you clean.
I mean, there's a lot of great ideas going on throughout this show. It's just they didn't have time to clean it.
Right, right. Yeah. You know, you can go online and search around YouTube and find some older versions, some earlier season versions of the show. They're out there, and it is a stark difference. And it's one of those things where you're like with Fiddler, you want to do it justice, and it took a long time to get there. And I think that was the best they could have done from where they started. You know, we talked about like 2019 Regiment, where they started in Michigan, that first show, and where they ended, and it was 12th place, and it was all that stuff. But I mean, like, they made some full sail changes all season. This is one of those drum corps that started in one place with one show and ended up with a completely different show because they just made a mistake at the beginning. They just designed a not great thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of lucky they got where they were with all of those changes. You know, being an anniversary year and being Fiddler, you know, I think, you know, they got a lot of crowd love, and they needed that. They needed that positivity. And because I just have this feeling they had a rough year. So
yeah, because I remember seeing them. I remember seeing them throughout the season, and it was. I was like, are they going to even make top 12 at some points? Because
you know,
I mean, and same for us too, because we were struggling that year too. We had a lot of age outs from 91 to 92. I mean, like literally half the horn line aged out. A lot of veterans that we'd had for a long time, so it was really a struggle. Yeah. They ended. Oh my God! Here, I got to show you this. This is going to trip you out. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it here.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I didn't even join freelancers that year until April. I came out to the April camp, and then I moved out, you know, in May. So I remember they were like, "Okay," because I got cut at Regiment 92 at audition camp, and then I went to Star of Indiana, and I was at Star of Indiana until right before the April camp. And your April camp was late. I got cut at the last camp.
Oh, so that sucks, dude.
Yeah, I was the last color guard cut at Star of Indiana in 92. And I'm fine with that. But they had I called, and like a week later I was at freelancers because your camp was a week later. So
dude, that would suck for me if I went to Star and like I got cut.
I can still remember a couple of drill spots in their show that was mine.
Dude, that would just blow my mind.
Yeah. So close.
Wow.
And they have alternates, so I didn't even get an alternate spot, you know, which I'm glad. An alternate is a thankless position.
Yeah, because you know you're never gonna march.
Yeah, or you're wishing that someone gets hurt. I mean, it's terrible. You're hoping for someone else's demise.
Well, what's interesting is that now that's a common thing is to have alternates.
Yeah.
Like a lot of corps have alternates now, so that's really and I'm on the drum corps Reddit threads, and a lot of people are like, don't even be an alternate. It's like, why are you gonna pay money to be an alternate? Go to another corps. There's plenty of corps that have openings all the time.
Right. So we offer people alternate contracts at Regiment, but if they don't want to take it, we will help place them. We'll write them a letter of recommendation if they want to go somewhere else.
And honestly, there's a lot of cores this time of year that are people, they just can't march anymore. They can't afford it or whatever. There's spots everywhere. You just got to know where you just got to look and reach out and see what you can find. But, so anybody that's out there, just look for spots. Trust me, they're there.
DCI puts up a graphic all the time.
Yeah, hundreds of spots. Hundreds of spots everywhere. Yeah. And especially as you get closer to like May and stuff like that, people, they drop out because like they can't afford it or whatever, and then a spot opens up. I just saw a listing for another spot. Yeah. You just never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me show you this. This is, let's see if this comes up. Oh, that's not Fiddler on the Roof. I don't want to show you Fiddler on the Roof. Okay. So this is what they scored.
Whoops. This is Carmen.
Oh, Carmen. Am I on the wrong year? Oh, that's 90.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, there's no way they scored that. Okay. Here we go.
I love this website. By the way, I can deep dive into this website and lose myself.
I still think this was really high. Yeah. 91.8. They beat Phantom Regiment. Come on.
Yeah, so Phantom was in 6th. I think Crossman was in 7th, and Santa Clara was in 8th. And so everybody just kind of moved up. Crossman and Santa Clara both moved up a spot, and then we dropped 2 spots. So
there is no way, with how rough that show was, how dirty that show was, how non-colorful that show was, that they should have been in that place in 7th. There's just no way.
No. They should not have
been. They should have maybe been 10th place.
I love that placement for Crossman because that's an amazing show.
That was a great show.
That was an amazing show. So
and that's Tumor's favorite show.
Regiment was also rehashing a tired show with War and Peace or whatever, So
but that placement makes no sense whatsoever because they were not good. I'm sorry. If you marched Vanguard, that was not Vanguard level quality. That just wasn't. Yeah. And it's nothing against them because they, like you said, we learned a whole new show pretty much like several times throughout the year.
Well, and also because they had been kind of riding this really great wave of Broadway musicals from Phantom Regiment. I don't remember what they did, Miss Saigon, Carmen. And so it was a natural progression to be like, we're going to go back to the original Broadway that we did in Fiddler on the Roof. And it just was such a oof, because they just struggled so much. I think they just bit off more than they could chew for that year.
Well, I think probably what they should have, they probably just didn't plan it well from the beginning, and they just kept going, well, let's change it. But the biggest miss, flags. Why would you only have one flag? No other equipment.
They had more props in the beginning. That was a thing that they ended up with.
Yeah.
And
to me, it wasn't colorful. It wasn't very big. Their sound wasn't as strong as it normally is.
Right.
There's a lot of missed stuff going on. I mean, you could hear it. I mean, it's obvious. Don't get me wrong. I think what got him the score was the hype.
Yeah. So something nice. We're gonna end on something nice, right? Because we're starting to fail again in the challenge.
Yeah, and once again, it's nobody's fault. Things happen sometimes, but this score, they should have not gotten that score.
No,
they should not have broken 90.
Crossman. Yeah. There's a huge jump. Look at that jump from VK. So look at Freelancers, Blue Coats, VK. There's a 3.5 point jump to Blue Knights. And
this show was maybe a high 80s show. There's no way it was a 91. Come on.
Yeah, it should have been Crossman, Regiment, Vanguard. In my opinion.
I don't know though. Crossman was really clean.
That's what I'm saying. Like Crossman should have been above.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then Regiment, and then Vanguard.
All right, so tell me what you guys think in the comments below about anything that we've talked about on this show. We would really appreciate it. And thank you, Jen, for jumping on.
Yeah.
And then Tumor had to leave early because he had to take his wife out, which is understandable.
Good. Happy wife.
Happy wife. That's right. Got that straight.
So.
And I'm glad to be back on the podcast. And a lot of stuff going on in my life, but that's okay. We're gonna push through, and I am gonna actually. So Tumor's been doing a great job of putting up these cool videos. If you haven't seen them, it's gonna be up in the corner up here. Well, actually on
Or-
Jen's side. It's going to be
Okay.
on Jen's side. It's going to be up in that corner. But you can go back and watch it. I'm going to put the playlist there for you guys to watch. And I'm going to be doing a series coming up here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it started until maybe sometime this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. But I did a previous series on my other channel back in the day of my favorite shows of the 90s. So I'm going to be putting that up. And every video is going to be for a different year. So like 90, okay. 91, 92, 93. So you guys are all going to get to see my favorite shows from those years. So it should be exciting. I love the 90s. I know some people are 80s drum corps, and that's fine. 90s was my decade, so
yeah, 90s was a sweet spot, real sweet spot. Until about 98, I kind of freaked out a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, 2000s were okay. 2010s were good. I like the 2010s actually.
Yeah,
that's another decade.
I really like. There's a few shows like 05, 06, 07 leading up into the late aughts that I really like. But yeah, the 2010s were also some really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Cavaliers, they dominated in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
Just like every year they're just dominating. Okay, well, thanks so much. We'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, march on.
March on.